still very much summertime, but a new football season is on the horizon. And while excitement is building for kickoff, more Virginians are also investing in the games in a different way. Mobile sports betting became legal in April of 2020, with the first legal wagers beginning in January of 2021. Just last year, almost $7 billion were wagered on sports betting in our state. And in January of this year, there was the highest total amount wagered of any month in history at $737 million. According to experts, football is the most bet on sport in Virginia. No surprise there. While the wagers can be a fun way to enjoy the games in a different way, it can also be addictive to some people. Ben Schott, a prevention and wellness specialist with Blue Ridge Behavioral Health Center, joins us now in studio to talk about the risks and what to do if you or a loved one is at risk of gambling addiction. Good afternoon, Ben. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, an important topic. Of course, we all like to enjoy the games and watch and, maybe win a little something here and there. And we see the commercials for sports betting all the time. But what exactly is it?
So sports betting is simply betting on the outcome of a sports event or a piece of a sports event, either before the game or during the game.
Yeah. And of course, as we were mentioning, there's a lot of different sites that people can bet on. You can have X amount of money in free bets, and there are other strategies that they use to entice new players. What are some of the risks with that?
Yeah, so free bets are promotions basically to get engaged with an app or a website, and companies do this to get more active users.
Right.
And while sometimes they seem a little too good to be true, that's because a lot of times they are. They may be free bets, but they often come with a lot of risks. We know the more people engage in sports betting, the more likely they are to develop a problem. And a lot of times those free bets or promotional bets are built in, so it's difficult to withdraw the money, either based off of time or amount of money. You have to reach a certain threshold before you're able to take it out. So it's not as much what you see at face value.
Yeah, that is good to know. Are there any apps that are better than others? Are they all kind of the same?
I wouldn't recommend really any sports betting app.
Sure.
Of course, we're gambling neutral, so any adult who chooses to partake, we support your decision and want you to do so responsibly.
Yeah. And what are some tips for people? Again, you're not trying to encourage people to gamble, of course, but we know that you will. Mm-hmm. People do like to get engaged that way. But there are some things that you can do to protect yourself if you do decide to play on these sites.
Absolutely. So there are some things called lower risk gambling guidelines, and there are three major ones. One is to make sure that you're betting less than 1% of your monthly income on gambling if you choose to gamble. Bet less than 4 times a month, 4 times or less, and then try to stick to 2 or less types of gambling. So if you really like sports betting and you really like bingo, don't include lottery and Powerball and all those things.
That's a lot of gambling.
Yeah, so try to keep it to 2 or less if you're going to engage in it.
Okay, you said like 4 times per month, so maybe every major, football Sunday a month, something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe think of it that way. All right, well, you're trying to stick to those rules, but you feel like maybe you are spending more than that recommended amount. What are some resources here locally for folks that really get caught up in that gambling addiction?
Absolutely. So honestly, the best way is to reach out to 1-800-GAMBLER. They have the largest network of providers and resources. If you do call from a Virginia area code, it will link you to someone that is an expert on this area. They'll be able to link you with whoever is best, whether you're just kind of having a small problem or if you might have a bigger problem, they can recommend some sources. Of course, if you are in crisis or considering harm to yourself, call 988, of course, the crisis lifeline. And then if you want more general information about what we do here at Blue Ridge Behavioral Healthcare, you can visit our website as well.
Yeah. Is there any, particular age group that you all have seen that kind of fall prey to this sort of thing now?
For sports betting, we're seeing men between 18 and 34 tend to be that target demographic and tend to be the ones reporting the most issues with sports betting when it does come to that.
Yeah. And what is the motivation typically? Are they like, I'm kind of struggling right now with debts or with bills or whatever, or is it just that, hey, I've always dreamt of winning big or, hitting some huge jackpot or something like that? What is the motivation behind this?
Of course. So we just had a recent study for younger adults, but 18 to 25, that a lot of them believed that gambling was truly a good way to make money. They thought that they were able to achieve some level of income by either having the knowledge or being able to manipulate the system or house in their favor, which of course we know is not really possible, but those were the beliefs that those people had. So they continue to gamble more often.
And it really is an addiction, so they're not really being reasonable at that point.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Ben. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, shining a light on this with, football season just around the corner. And of course, if somebody does need to reach out, they can reach out to your organization, correct?
Of course.
Yeah. All right. And we'll put that information again up there. 1-800-GAMBLER. That is the hotline to call if you do find that you do need some help. And of course, you can reach out to Blue Ridge Behavioral Health anytime. All right, Ben, thanks so much for coming and we appreciate it.